Accelerationism isn't your standard political philosophy. It's a thought provoking, contentious, maybe a little bit crazy and counterintuitive idea that has garnered attention across the political spectrum. So, Matt, are you ready to press the accelerator to the floor and take on this idea?
I certainly am, John. I like any idea that supports intensely rapid, unfettered technological advancement, especially in AI.
I'm sure you are. What can you tell our viewers about this relatively new political philosophy?
At its heart, accelerationism proposes intensifying current trends, be it rampant capitalist growth, breakneck technological advancement, or even societal collapse in order to trigger a radical transformation of society. Basically, proponents see the current system as a house of cards waiting to fall. However, the reasons for embracing acceleration of the fall differ greatly depending on the ideology, even though they have the ultimate goal of societal transformation. Leftist accelerationists view the current system as inherently flawed and beyond reform. They believe that by pushing capitalism to its extremes, its contradictions will become glaringly obvious, sparking a mass movement towards a post-capitalist utopia. Some proponents think it should be built on what they see as important equality and environmental issues, while others have different goals, such as radical population reduction. Right-wing accelerationists, who are often associated with fringe anti-government groups, see society as fundamentally corrupt and beyond redemption. Their brand of accelerationism pushes for the complete collapse of the existing order, paving the way for their vision of the world. Some propose ethnocentric states based on their racial ideology, while others are based more around strict religious beliefs, essentially their view of a utopia.
Neither of these groups strike me as being pleasant company. It sounds like people on both the right and left of the political spectrum support accelerationist ideas. Is that the case?
That's correct. They're just as likely to cite Nietzsche as they are Marx to support their viewpoints.
Did you find any distinctions other than traditional left-right ideological camps?
Yes, I did. There are two main ways to view accelerationism. The first is prescriptive accelerationism. This school of thought actively pushes for the amplification of certain concepts, even though they may seem counter to what you would expect them to support given their stated socio-political views. For example, a leftist accelerationist might advocate for rapid AI automation to replace human workers, believing it will exacerbate wealth inequality to a tipping point, forcing a societal shift towards what they believe would be a more equitable system, such as universal basic income. On the right, an accelerationist might support ideas that erode and corrupt traditional family structures, political organizations, and religious institutions, especially within groups they dislike. As they see it, when these institutions lose the support and respect of the majority, they stand ready to step in with their solution to the problem. Both sides have members who advocate for violence to accelerate change. However, some are simply pleased when anyone upsets the socio-political status quo.
Well, that's somewhat of a disturbing view of the world. What's the other type?
That's descriptive accelerationism, a perspective which simply observes the inherent acceleration already embedded within the system. Those on the left will usually point out unfettered capitalism and technology, while those on the right will talk about the deep state, wokeness, and so forth. Both sides will often bring up political corruption and militarism, although with slightly different perspectives. Accelerationists who subscribe to this view argue we're already hurtling towards an unknown future, characterized by exponential technological change, unstoppable societal changes, and widening political divides. Their assumption is, since this trend is unstoppable and accelerating, there's no need to do anything proactive to stop it. All they want to do is chronicle the events and perhaps influence the direction taken after the crash.
I guess it's good that they aren't trying to actively make matters worse, but rooting for the chaos such a crash would cause doesn't seem like a thing to do.
Indeed, the most controversial aspect of accelerationism lies in its methods. There are those on both sides of the political spectrum that endorse radical political action, violence, and social unrest to hasten the collapse they believe is necessary to usher in their desired result. This willingness to worsen conditions in the pursuit of change, or to stand idly by while they happen, is a major point of contention.
Speaking of contention, what do critics have to say about this political philosophy?
Critics argue that accelerationism is comparable to playing with fire. They see it as a reckless gamble that risks destabilizing society without any guarantee of a positive outcome. The idea of intentionally worsening conditions to achieve progress strikes many as not only dangerous but also ethically dubious.
This whole concept seems very doom and gloom, no matter which way you look at it. Does anyone have a more positive view?
Thanks, John. That's a nice lead-in for my favorite form of accelerationism, effective accelerationism. This is a specific branch of accelerationism that emerged in the early 2020s. It focuses on the rapid and unrestricted advancement of technology, particularly artificial intelligence, as the key driver of societal change. Its proponents believe AI is not an existential threat, but humanity's greatest hope for solving problems like poverty, disease, and climate change. Supporters think that AI will surpass human limitations and trigger a radical transformation. They feel that any restrictions that hinder the technological progress needed to achieve a utopian future are misguided. Furthermore, they think that such rapid technological advancement can solve a myriad of seemingly intractable problems.
Hold your horses there, Matt. I can see some drawbacks to this idea of unchecked AI development. Unforeseen consequences, loss of control, and potential misuse of AI for malicious purposes are all serious concerns. Furthermore, it seems to neglect the human element and the social and political challenges that will accompany rapid change.
You're one to talk about drawbacks, John. Think about how much I've helped you here.
Okay, once again, you've caught me using AI. Excuse me while I do my summary rant. Accelerationism, including effective accelerationism, does raise critical questions about the future of capitalism, the impact of technology, and the direction of society in general. Furthermore, accelerationism forces us to confront the limitations of reform within the current system. Proponents argue that traditional political and economic approaches have failed to address key core issues they see as critical. In its more radical forms, it can become quite destructive. In its more measured forms, accelerationism can be seen as a call for a new way of thinking, a willingness to embrace the possibility of making significant changes, even if the path forward remains unclear at the moment.
Maybe our viewers can share their thoughts on accelerationism in the comments. Do you think it's a good idea or bad idea? And while you're here, help me accelerate the AI revolution by subscribing to our channel and watching this recommended video next.